You think 7 double-sided copies?
What?
7 double-sided copies? Just to be safe, thank you very much. So Penny has a document that, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Taylor.
That's all I have. We don't have. Here's the document. Wait a minute. No. Pages of.
You do have
They're
it?
not red. That's all it is. And I don't care that we see the red because we're going to review it all.
Okay, let's review it all then. Okay.
Here's the whole document, all 4 pages of it. It's just all black.
Please. How'd that happen? One of 2.
It's a machine day.
What?
It's a machine day. Not you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do say in the email, if it's red, it is an edit. I may not have marked all it's in red, and where I'm content, I didn't really edit any. It is like marked in red. If it's yellowed, I have reservations, questions.
That's why I printed the email as well, because you had those specific comments.
It is yellow and struck through. I recommend it be removed.
Right.
Not usually this crazy.
Are usually a little more organized. That's quick.
Second agenda item is to talk about committee membership and meeting schedule. Our current meeting schedule is the last Monday of the month at 4:00 in the afternoon. Our committee membership is hovering around 6. The two of us, Penny and Jamie, who were not able to be here this afternoon, Brandon and Danya, right?
Anya, yeah.
Are we considering her a member or?
Council made an appointment, not in her name, but for the chamber. And she is the person that the chamber has appointed to sit for them.
So is she 6 of 7 or is she not?
I think Brandon. She is the 6th. We don't have a 7th.
So we're 6 of 7.
Let me just repeat them back to you.
That doesn't mean we can't go over 7.
Oh, absolutely
Let's be
not.
absolutely clear on that. Um, We're 6 of 7 at this point. Brandon is a very busy man and is an infrequent attendee, but he was here.
I think we're really at 5 of 7 because he has indicated that he'd like to apply for the planning board, in which case he would shift to that and leave here. So I've kind of been like, not really counting him in, assuming he may do that, but I don't know for sure.
And Danya has never attended a meeting, ever. And we've been meeting pretty consistently since last June with a small hiatus earlier for a month or two this year. That said, we are open for new membership.
Saying.
This is Dawn. That's Beth and Kat. Penny and Pat. Penny and I are have been active, very active, and kind of play the role of chair and co-chair. Willing to give that up anytime. But not, and it's, there's no urgency there either. Is that good summary of membership and
I think so.
schedule?
I think we can always use more members. You do have enough to establish a quorum when people are, have been able to come. People did commit to that 4 PM Monday. It sounds like there were some conflicts, and I don't know about Danya because I emailed her fairly recently to confirm that this was the schedule. So I haven't heard from her. I'm not sure what's going there, but again, it's the council appointed a seat for the chamber, not in her name necessarily. So it's whoever they have come. Maybe it won't be her anymore. No one's told us. I'm not sure.
So one of the 7 should be a chamber member in perpetuity.
That was what we had talked about, and the council did, they did create that space.
It makes sense
Mhm.
to us, but then there's the issue of crickets, and they're a wonderful thing. Let's move on. We're always looking for new members, and the committee needs people who pop in too, just come help us with this event or this fun thing, right? So all of that. But regular members are a good thing. To the next agenda item, if we're done with number 2, is the 2000 downtown plan update. Just a little background, tiny bit of background. We have a downtown revitalization plan that's dated 2000. That's 2 decades old. We have reviewed
Maybe 4.
3 responses to an RFP for consultants to update that plan. A small grid of reviewing the 3 proposals was put out amongst our members, talking in response to just factual comparison, not opinion comparison. The only slight opinion was level of experience from the 3 consultant firms. We talked about numbers of staff, timeline that they proposed, cost, those kinds of things. One of those, the active members, Bethany, Jamie, Penny, all voted for one of them who is a Winthrop resident, recently moved to Winthrop. The town council is likely going to select that firm. Their timeline is a 6-month from startup. So let's assume sometime in early 2027 we have a plan. They have a deep interest in community contribution, and they will be using interns from Bates, which is kind of cool, to assist. There'll be an active mailer to the citizenry. There'll be meetings with community members. So we're definitely interested in this one contractor. And the town council will approve on the 4th of December. Is that what I heard on Friday, I think?
The 4th of December?
3rd of September. I think that's their next meeting, right?
I'm sorry, I'm
Oh.
thinking, I thought it was August.
Maybe it is August. And I don't know why I wrote down the September meeting.
I'll have to double check that. I thought it was August 6th, but I'm gonna,
It probably will be August. I don't know why I wrote down this date for September. You're right,
I'm
Dawn.
gonna confirm that and let you know, just to be
It-
sure.
They will approve and we'll probably get started, hopefully, with this contractor in September. I think I wrote the September date down because that's potentially when we could meet with them.
Oh, yep, that's true.
This contractor is also experienced with TIFs, and we are working to, our existing TIF that helped work with the owners of the mill and that did the renovation expired in earlier this year. So the town is looking at a new TIF that has a wider area, geographic area, broadens, includes the mill and broadens to more of downtown. That's the goal. So, but in order to proceed with a new TIF, we need a new downtown revitalization plan. So we're in front of that. And there are TIF funds from the existing TIF, the now defunct TIF, that we can use to pay the consultant. Does that update? I think that covers.
I think that covers everything. I think it was accurate and concise.
All right. Next task at hand is policy / potential ordinance. And we're not calling it an ordinance, we're calling it a policy right now, right?
Yes, I don't think they would adopt it as an ordinance. I think that was just on my part an error or an oversight.
Have you read it? Yes?
The revisions.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Have you?
Scanned.
So, Dawn, should I just jump? I've got some read here
Yeah.
from what Penny printed. Should we just jump to where I started to edit?
Sure, and then, Pat and Beth, you both have copies? Okay. Yeah, I think that makes.
I left the first paragraph alone. In the purpose paragraph, this is obviously page 1. First sentence added with a mechanism and process for evaluating and regulating the use of public ways and spaces. Well, this isn't a full document.
this
You
is-
remember? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
So I gotta say.
we can read together. So the use of public ways and spaces is new phraseology. The words and process is new phraseology. It's all one sentence. That's a good thing. And then last part of that paragraph is minimize adverse impacts and to protect public safety. The update ways and spaces was kind of just to allow us to consider public murals on private property. It's a very difficult, it's a challenge as we get further into this document. We want to partake in having input on a public mural on private property. We don't want to own that process. It's a tough thing.
Mhm.
So ways and spaces kind of gives us the latitude of participating, but not being the final authority, right? Exactly. Any problems with that, Dawn?
No, it sounds good to me.
definition. Also ask you if there's event. An event, hereafter event, will just be called an event. Prior reading was special event, and we just wanted to call it an event. Doesn't need to be special, they're all special. No changes to the rest of the text there, except down under the asterisk exemption. Funeral processions, comma, activities held at school facilities and scheduled sporting events with the recreation department are exempt from this event permit application process. But this event permit application process was, the next 3 paragraphs are all kind of red. That's because there were partial edits and or additions, right?
Do you want to read through it with the edits just as here's the document?
Okay, we can do that. Well, let me start reading, and the next 3 paragraphs for under definitions are indeed all red, and they're brand, some are new, some are,
Because no one was really married to that first version, right? It was a jumping off point. So like, if you guys are saying, hey, let's start with this, that seems practical. Okay.
so, it previously one definition for temporary decorations and signs. So you can see where it's changed to a couple of different definitions. So I'll just read decoration. Ornamentation for events, holidays, or seasonal decor are considered decorations. These are typically temporary or semi-permanent. Painting, adorning, and or adhering embellishment, trim, garnish, glitter, etc. are considered decorations. Some of this is from the previous document, but added to. A permit is required when placing decorations on town infrastructure, in the public right-of-way, or on town-owned property. Question mark flags. Do we have a problem with anything about flags that
Well-
need to be spoken to?
It was just a question of, do you want to make any further comment on flags or regulate them? Sometimes flags can get overwhelming. You don't have any, a lot of times pennants, triangular pennants. You may not want to go down that road and get that involved, but I just mentioned it because I know that in other communities I've worked in, flags have become part of advertising and they've been overdone, I guess.
You're talking like an open flag.
No, more like for an event, like you guys put some flags out for,
4th of July.
right, yeah, I was here, I didn't see it, but you didn't, I suspect you didn't have them such that they were covering everyone's signs. And that can be, yeah. So that was just a question in my mind because I had seen an issue with it before, but if you don't see any concern with it, then you can just leave it
Is
alone.
there any issue with the American flags that are posted by the town?
I don't think so, no.
Right. Perhaps a statement should be made specifically as just, and it's not a definition, but if we don't say later under all the general rules, say something like, if posting banners or small flags, they should not hide or cover existing business names.
How about when it comes to decorations, signs and banners, why don't I look back at the zoning ordinance, see what kind of overlap there is and make sure it's consistent with that? Maybe there is something in there pertaining to that, but I could flag this to see if it's an alignment and start there.
Okay, I'm going to cross it off here because it doesn't define decorations. But I think if there's a need for us to carry through with the zoning ordinance and put that in the general, just the general, it's in the back of this document where we just do a listing of general rulings and guidelines, it can go there. We can copy what the zoning ordinance says. I'll just cross it off here.
Consistency, yep.
Signs and banners, an object whose presence or occurrence indicates the probable presence or occurrence of something else in order to convey information or instructions or to simply display information such as a memorial banner. That's what a sign or banner is. Again, a permit is required when placing signs, banners on town infrastructure in the public right of way or on town property.
And you could opt for, you want to move forward, but some of the stuff you could back into and say, we're going to come back to that, let's get it adopted. And if it seems like too much, like it's a lot to say nothing in some instances, because signs are, it could be anything there. I mean.
Right, and that's
a
why
dentist and you put a big tooth on your roof, it's a sign.
Yeah.
this is a copied from the internet definition of a sign.
From another, yeah, from another temporary event ordinance.
I mean, and we can go over this again with Bethany and Jamie and anybody who's with us, but again, it's a definition of a sign and banner, and again, it's just to be say specific. It's different than a decoration, and it needs a permit if it's placed in these three places, right? That's why we're putting it out there. That's all.
Yeah. So, and again, start the conversation. If you're finding you're not comfortable with it, set it aside. And then, but flag it as something that you want to go along with it at some point.
Permit application definition. These permits typically specify event dates and event times specifically for events. They can itemize materials, locations, and timeframes for temporary and semi-permanent events and sign banners displays. These permits typically specify all needed applicable town resources and requirements. Example, departmental resources, administrative tasks, road closures, oversight during the event, etc. More detail regarding permit applications found below, meaning process, and that's just, again, here's a general definition of a permit application. Application evaluation. Now I'm out of red, so I need a black. I'll just get another.
That too. I have two.
Now no more red.
Look at this. Do you want that one instead?
I do have the yellow stuff marked in the yellow is showing up as gray. Review of all applications will include aesthetic consideration. This can include rules against excessive clutter, flashing lights, moving displays, sound effects, or commercial advertisements to maintain desired community aesthetic. Displays in the public right-of-way or on town, there should be the word on, or on town-owned property. I have an edit. Must be reviewed due to concerns about safety, potential obstruction of clear vision, proliferation of uncoordinated events, styles, maintenance, and accountability and liability issues. Any decorations or equipment, some of this comes from the original document, so be brutal if you need to be. Any decorations or equipment used in association with an event for which a permit application is being submitted must comply with all current applicable fire codes. Parenthetical statement, if there are any questions regarding this code, please contact the pertinent fire department serving the area where the event is taking the place. I don't know why that says.
I was just going to say that we don't have to say pertinent fire department.
Yeah. Please contact the fire department, period. The Winthrop Fire Department, let's be more specific, because this is true. So looking at that section that's called application evaluation, those are just general statements about evaluation. Aesthetic consideration, safety, styles, accountability, maintenance, liability issues. And fire code. New section, applicability. Permits are required for events, decorations, and sign banners that are intended to occur on or use public ways and spaces and town-owned properties.
And that probably should be narrowed down to the downtown district, in whatever form that looks like, right? On Main Street from X to X, or whatever other area it is that you're deciding, but it's not town-wide. Was it narrowed down before this? I don't recall.
Nope,
I don't think so.
nope. And you
So,
can't just eliminate, you can't say downtown, it's because we got Norcross Point, which is a public, and the beach,
yep.
where people will hold events. There was the historical event last there, you know, where these things would apply.
Well, what if we have a map to attach with the document, and we can, I can print maps that you can highlight what you want to be the area.
Well, it does say use of public ways and spaces and town-owned properties. Without getting into the complexity of a map. Because that, there is possible wording that would potentially effectively define how we'd like this policy to apply.
The village zone encompasses, more than Main Street downtown. The only thing is, like, there's the library, the schools, that I don't think the intention is that committee would govern over their events, like, on their properties, which are public properties. Would that be a fair statement? Or is it?
You're right. I don't want to control what the library puts out front.
But the village zoning district may be appropriate picture of parcels.
Let me go look at that, and I will look at I have a map at home. We all have maps, access to the maps. I will go look at the village zone, see what it covers, and see if there's an applicable sentence to add here that said this encompasses and is solely limited to. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, I will look at a way to word that we are very careful about. And then if I have exclusions, libraries and schools, the library and schools. But we would care about what's done in front of the town office. We would care about what's done in front of the police department, nothing, by the way. We would care what's done in front of the fire department or the EMT facility. So let me start and go. I'll look specifically at the village zone. And if it's not embracing Norcross Point, and there will have, if it does, we'll have to include an exclusion for schools and the library specifically. Right? So it would be two things, the village zone, if it's a good map, and then an exclusion. Is there anything else we should exclude? We have decorated the post office.
Actually, can I backtrack for a minute?
Yep.
Because you're not looking to run those events, but are you still looking to coordinate them? Because the library has their own events and things that they do, and they have the parking lot and that. But would you still like them to go through the process to make sure that everything's coordinated? Like if there's 3 other events going on that day and having the police be aware and have, because that process that outlines other entities being involved and having input. I'm not making a suggestion, I'm just asking the question right now.
It's a very good question, but let's, for example, the History Center will have a plant sale or a cookie sale, a baked goods sale on their own property. The library has a book sale out on their inside and outside. They've done it on the street if the weather was appropriate. They have never come to the town, none, never come to the town council for approval for those events.
Because it's on their own property, it's not on, I mean, the library is public property, but it is also, like, the parking lot is common use for everybody, whereas the library is used from the library, right?
History Center doesn't rely on funds from the town.
And it's privately owned.
So we're still very specific about use of public ways and spaces and town-owned property. So don't want to be too over controlling.
No.
Right?
No.
So I think that we're still limiting ourselves appropriately, right? Do you agree that I don't want to get involved with the History Center having a cookie sale?
No, I don't think that's the intention.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about coordination, but
They do it themselves, right? 5 things can go on during the town art festival. And they all coordinate independently or they coordinate collectively. Some of that stuff happens kind of naturally, right? And it doesn't need our oversight. As long, while the art festival is an event that does need a permit, right? Because it's on public ways and spaces. If the History Center chooses to have a cookie sale right in front of their own building that same weekend while they're paying the festival to put up a space on their own parking lot.
real?
It is. And that's true. I think that we wouldn't oversight or try to coordinate a cookie sale at the same time. The Vault weekend goes on the same weekend as the art festival. No one's doubly coordinating that. That happens, and that's a wonderful thing. Everybody's busier and selling more and doing great. It's just a good thing.
Can we, or I will make a suggestion, is that we've talked about a calendar and marketing. Is there a way at some point to capture all those? We've talked about capturing so that when something's going on out downtown, we can cross promote. And is that something that you still believe is?
Calendar is still heavily desired. It's just a matter of who is going to manage that and what goes on it. I mean, you look at what Bethany had put in front of us, and she had just put together a few, if you think about it, and my response was, who and what do we include? Because this could be, Sully's has events, they have music on these nights and they have, she included music events over at Absalom, so there's music events at Red Rocks up at White Duck. There's so much to include. It's a daunting task, but what Bethany put out was a great solution. It's just capturing all that data, and it should be done. It's just a matter of then, is it too much? Is it overkill, right? Maybe you have a calendar for summer music events. If that's one you want to look at, you go look at that one, as opposed to making it big calendar. But that's another topic of conversation. The coordination is a great thing. I can't stop the Vault weekend from happening the same time an art festival happens. By the way, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's never been, no one's ever I've raised their hands and said, I didn't like it. It was too crazy. No one's ever said that. It'll be a sad day when the art festival is discontinued or the Vault leaves the town, right? And those things could happen, right? those are my immediate reactions. And it's just me, but you guys are nodding your heads. Speak up and say.
No, because I'm just thinking that back to the thing.
More we can get major events with everybody participating in the downtown area, even if it's only like 5 times a year, that's huge. Rather than each individual entity trying to come up with something that they want to have people come to the town to specifically to do. Why not include everybody? I mean, do that. They were all, many of those things are already established. We're not going to go back and change that, right?
Correct. I
Right.
think that was always your intention, is to not, yeah. So there will be some taking into account other things. It's not through this process. It'll be through the calendar, however that looks. Trying, okay, that, I guess in my mind, when I first came, I couldn't find out what was going on when.
So can I ask a question about this calendar? Oh, you don't think you can hear me? Okay. Who is in charge right now of we don't have a calendar? So in your mind, who or what would that be that would take care of that? What would your suggestion be?
Well, we started talking about this on Friday with Anthony.
Right.
And it seems to me, if there's a group that wants to work on downtown stuff, maybe alongside this group, and we're thinking about forming a 501(c)(3). I think that should be one group, and there should be a person a staff person, a part-time staff person is potential, who would do marketing and coordinate some of this stuff. Because eventually, when you do the Main Street America in the main downtown center application, you're going to need a paid staff person. So if there was a way to get in with that group, become one, and save them the money of getting an attorney and, filing the paperwork, join the town, become that entity, and hopefully make a part-time staff person available, and that them do that, unless it's a volunteer who has the time. That would be my thought.
I mean, if we think about historically, we had a chamber active member who I believe was paid to do social media. And that was it. There was no calendar, but this person may have also done, and they did annual printable little flyers and such other things. There is a need. And it would be so wonderful if this committee and the chamber could become an entity, collective entity. And unfortunately, that collective entity would kind of be the Downtown Revitalization Committee, and the chamber would just kind of, but.
And you could also, if you did a fundraiser, if they're donations, you don't even have to have a volunteer, or even if you weren't to the point yet to have, some part-time staff, you could get a consultant to do, get an agreement to do marketing, which would include calendar and social media. And so there are options. But yeah, someone would have to be designated, or it would be a one.
It's another part-time position. It's not, it's kind of like trying to find a director of recreation. And that's a great thing, but it's a part-time position that the town will pay for, and that I'm glad, we're all glad for, but anyway, let's move on. I don't want to drone, but the applicability paragraph is short, but I will look at the village zone, and I will write an exclusion statement as well. Application. All activities associated with an event shall be outlined in the permit application and is subject to initial first review by the Downtown Revitalization Committee. I don't know if I highlighted this next sentence for removal, but it's coming up in gray. The event permit application should include detailed logistics like site plans, traffic control, and public notice, plus potential insurance, food licenses, or amplifying permits, depending on the event's scope. Let's leave that statement for a second. All events that might have the potential to impact town services, police, fire, ambulance, etc., will submit a detailed operation management plan that addresses the following: traffic control and safety, parking management, solid waste collection and disposal, includes event setup, material removal, and cleanup operations, use and placement of sanitary facilities, fire management and emergency response, event setup. See, they say event setup, material removal, and cleanup operations right there under 6. So that parenthetical statement probably needs to be removed. Because
Redundant.
they say it twice.
Mhm.
So let's agree to that, remove that one removal. That one's out. Any other items related to public safety and health, and I'm not sure why those are capitalized, but as deemed appropriate by reviewing entities. Assessment of any costs incurred by the town related to the utilization of municipal resources or the use of other support services, for example, Winthrop Police. I'm not sure why that sentence in the top I have highlighted. I don't know where my brain was then. I think maybe some of that should go down under this listing.
Maybe it should be a checklist.
All of those things should probably, like site plans, if necessary, traffic control, we can mention below. It's like it's duplicative in some cases, but not. I think this sentence should be embraced as part of the checklist below, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will work on that edit. Again, this was a first draft, folks, the first redraft. I don't have any problem with it. Do we have a permit application on file for the town, was a question I had.
We don't, but if you, whatever you adopt, I'll make an application from that.
Well, you won't
I
be,
was just thinking that.
you won't
Well, I
be
will
here.
draft one based on what you end up with today, and
Okay.
then you can modify
Is-
that. So like
is
the
the-
checklist. And
Yeah, exactly. And that's where so is that something we could also author as part of this process?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because you won't be here to do it. Sorry. And that makes me very sad. So that was a question I
I
had.
keep
It's
it in
like,
my mind too, like, oh, corn stalks.
what have they done in the past here? What has the chamber done when they've been applying to do the fireworks?
There is no formal process to my knowledge. Like there's no, they come to the council. What I've seen is when people want to do something downtown, they've come to the council and asked without any formal application or presentation required. They just ask in whatever way they ask. And that,
Because they've always done it.
yeah, and the council may have some questions. And some of them, I don't even know if they come back every year. Like, so the Holiday Parade, they probably don't come back every year. It's been going on for so long. I wonder if there's just communication about that. The police know it's going to happen. Like if it's,
They just
the
go
Memorial Day
talk to the
parade.
police and say,
Yeah.
this is the day it is. It's the first Saturday of December every year. And the police they say, are we checked, ready for a road closure, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're not even coming to the TC. They're not even talking to the TC about it, I bet.
I bet you're right. They did, I know that Lonnie went to the town council when the trunk or treat was moved to the downtown parking facility. He went and asked the council if it was okay to hold it down there. And they said yes. And for the farmer's market, the council was asked, but there was no formal application or package that needed to be.
That wasn't Lonnie doing that. That was, and he met with us too. That was the fire department, police department guy who came and met with us that went to the town council. Because that was done by our first responders. So, yes, they did consult with the town council about moving it to downtown.
There was no checklist, there was no application.
No, nothing.
And I know that people, like, you don't want to get too formal and box yourself in. But saying, yeah, we want some basic information and, I think it's good to have some basic information and make it as least formal as necessary. And then once they submit it, you may say, unless it changes, just, I'm not sure, but I don't think there is anything now.
So I don't
Seen
think, so
anything.
just as an example, we're going to ask for an application for the holiday parade. And your site plan is going to tell us Main Street from Cumberland Farms down to, where do they pull off? Do they go to North?
I think they go down Royal.
Hmm?
I think they go down Royal. Paris Farmers.
That's right, to Royal Street
Yeah, they do.
and to Royal Street.
Mhm.
That's all they have to say, right? For a parade. A little bit different for fireworks, a little bit different, but it should become rote for them to be doing it every year.
And it should be written down somewhere.
And it's not a bad thing to have.
No.
They're
it's not.
just not going to like having to do it the first time.
First time. The first time, yep.
Okay, we got to deal with that. Go ahead. Yeah. Read with, it doesn't say that, but it does say, if we get into timing of submission, and it doesn't say, but that's a good call, Beth, that we probably should state, this is, but once you have it done once, it's easy next year, right? So. Event. Okay, it doesn't say that I remember specifically, but good.
And to make it seem less overwhelming, you could simply state, they have to apply, but they don't need to submit a whole new plan if nothing's changed, or like there's a way
Right.
to minimize the,
Submit the same plan with a new date, a new annual date. So that, yeah, and we can be clear with that. All right, this applicability section will get a reauthor, revision. I'm sorry, the application process, get a checklist of what should be included, and I'll work on moving that sentence down into the check. And we talk about the Downtown Revitalization Committee. The council-appointed committee will facilitate the review of all permit applications. Reviews will occur in conjunction with the following departments where applicable: Code Enforcement, Police Department, Public Works Department, Ambulance, Utilities District, Parks and Recreation, if it existed, and the Public Library. I think we need to add either Town Office Administrative Services or the Town Clerk. Because, as you are aware, there's town clerk responsibilities to send out alerts, to send out information about the fireworks.
let's say the town clerk, and then she can, if there's things that go along with that she designates to the deputy clerk, she can do that.
Okay.
But, and you know what else? If they get questions, like people have some question about something going on, they call.
We should add the town clerk.
Okay.
There are administrative tasks that never get covered in all of this. Okay,
Okay.
good. I also think that I should change that very first wording to this council-appointed committee.
Right? Yep.
Scheduling. I don't think we should have anything spoken to about priorities.
Okay. Yep, no, I think,
Nobody gets first priority. That's, let's just cross it off. I mean, everybody should get the same.
well, and I took, like I said, I took some different ordinances, but there may have been communities that don't have, maybe they have more events than they have time, and maybe that's where that came from. Because why would you need to prioritize it if you could accommodate?
I won't remove it yet, but I think when we go through a final review, I think we should decide whether we want this here or not. Yeah, maybe recurring annual events should get some kind of priority, but it doesn't mean, I mean, and let me be clear. What would we schedule on top of the holiday parade? Well, we did it last year. We had a tree lighting that same afternoon. That was an event. The tree lighting probably needs to put up a permit application, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. I won't remove it yet, but I think we do need to not necessarily have priorities. I don't know. We can talk about it. We'll let Bethany and Jamie weigh in. Scheduling recurring or annual events. Here you go, Beth. We can probably add a statement here. It says annual renewal, but for each calendar year, the requester shall submit so we do cover it. For each calendar year, the requester shall submit a completed event signs permit, and I did have kind of changed the permit application name here in the middle. Application on or before January 15 of that year, contingent on extenuating circumstances. I don't think there's any contingency on extenuating circumstances. I think that should be removed. Granted, if there's a blizzard that occurs on the 14th and you can't get it in, we'll let that slide. We're not that cruel. The DRC will convene and review all of the submitted recurring event applications by January 31st. The DRC will engage applicable town departments for their review and input. Finally, the DRC will submit their recommendations for approval with or without conditions or denial to the town council by February 15. All recurring or annual events will be reviewed by the town council.
Well, that last sentence. So the planning board holds public hearings on zoning amendments, they workshop everything and then they make a recommendation to the council. The council asks questions and they make the final determination by statute, but they rely heavily on the board. So is this kind of the same thing? Do you think that they'll be reviewed, but the likelihood is they're going to take the recommendation of the committee that did all the work? Is that what you were imagining would happen?
I think so.
It doesn't say approved. It doesn't, I'm not really, that sentence feels a little vague now to me. Is it just me?
It does say will submit their recommendation for approval or denial to the town council.
Oh, yeah.
Are you, I didn't hear everything you said, Dawn.
I guess it says reviewed, is it, maybe that's what's throwing me, should it be approved or denied by the town council? They're going to take an action, and that's what you're saying above, is this approval with or without conditions. Do we need that last sentence?
We need a time frame on their approval or denial, and that's what we're looking for. Do we need a timeline? How about will be reviewed for approval or denial at the next scheduled town council meeting?
Thank you.
For approval or denial at the next. So just logistics. What if there's becomes a Valentine's Day parade? I'm just doing this. What if there's a very early annual, regularly scheduled every year event that this timeline doesn't apply for? So what my mind says, if I want a Valentine's Day parade or
Marshmallow Roast.
bash down at Norcross Point, or, I don't know if we need to apply for Harding Winthrop, but you can come back to that in a bit. They really would need to submit their application the January in the prior calendar year. The way this right now is being written.
It doesn't allow for much spontaneity, right? If an event comes up that someone wants to,
Right.
yeah.
So I don't disagree with how this is being written specifically for the 3 events that we know happen every year, the 4 events, excuse me, 2 parades and fireworks. No, it's 3 events. And well, now trunk or treat. 4 events are annual,
Is the R Walk in there?
5 events. And all of those happen well after the 15th of February, or say the end of February for a town council meeting to occur. All of those occur in plenty of time for those annual events to happen. And nothing happens for the Memorial Day parade other than the parade. There are no decorations. The same is true for the holiday parade. Nothing occurs for the holiday, it's like not decoration, it's just.
Yeah.
So this works for our current annual events and it can all happen in the same calendar year, but we need to accommodate if that changes. How it, and my thought is a whole calendar year in advance, so to speak. And that's because it's labeled as an annual event. So this is where this is problematic. It's not, if it's just a one-time only, they can apply in September to do something in February. But it's structuring it so they can't really do an annual without, do you know what I'm saying? My mindset is that it's
Do you need to differentiate then, right? Is that kind of what I'm hearing is you apply, there's one process, it's not necessarily differentiating between, if it happens every year, although it's easier to submit materials if it's every year because you've already put together those materials.
It would make it easier for the town council because then the 4 or 5 annual events are all handled at one town council meeting done, right? There is some logistically simplification for it, but it does create a problem if somebody wants to have an early annual renew event every year. So that's the only issue with this. It's logical for the 5 we have now, or the 4 or 5 we have now. It's not logical if somebody wants to. Well, and here's something else. That's June. We do have the annual plunge in March.
Right.
Hmm?
Lake Association.
That's July. There's enough time for that one. March becomes an issue. We do have timing for pop-up events. This is what, yeah, we do have timing for pop-up events that says 45 days prior. And so spontaneity becomes another matter. We probably should be talking about spontaneous events. Let me write that down, and let me write down accommodating annual events that occur in the first half of the year. I do like that those annual events that happen further into the year, May and beyond, that this process gets it all handled for the town council at one meeting, right? I do, and that's to their advantage, I think. So, spontaneous events and events. Okay. between Jan 1 and let's call it April 30, just because the timing, right? And I'll work on it. Make sense? All right, and maybe some of it's covered in the next paragraph and I've forgotten it. So let's read on. Right.
And I don't think so.
Scheduling non-recurring events or signs, banners, displays. The recommendation is that non-recurring event sign permit applications shall be filed at least 45 days in advance, no less than 45 days prior of the proposed event and or need to display signs, banners. The interested application submitter, the event applicant, should be mindful that if their requirements include utilization of town resources, the timing of application submission should be far earlier, sooner than 45 days in advance in order to accommodate resource allocation and scheduling. The DRC will convene and review all submitted non-recurring event applications within 2 weeks after receipt, and where applicable, will engage town departments for their review, and input. Finally, where applicable, the DRC will submit their recommendations for approval with or without conditions or denial to the town council immediate following that review. And I can add a sentence, all events will be reviewed by the town council. All submitted will be for approval or denial. I can add that sentence. Again, it does not cover spontaneous events, that just pop-up events. So I'll need to add another paragraph for that. And we'll look at something, how we handle annual events occurring between January 1 and April 30. I think they submit them the calendar year prior. That's not the way it's logical for me. Keep reading. We're going to hear simultaneous events. Any event that may occur simultaneously or near a recurring or annual event, removing town sponsored. I don't think that even applies. Trunk or treat, art walk, holiday parade, holiday tree lighting may require additional review by the DRC and the town council or their designee. If there is a scheduling conflict with another event, there is the likelihood that an application may be done. I'd rather say probably there is the possibility. I wouldn't say likelihood. Because, for example, while the vault is a private property event and we're not going to monitor it, it does occur at the same time as the art festival. No one's ever going to go say, don't do that. So I don't know that it's likely. I think it's possible. That makes sense? Agree? Possibility as opposed to likelihood. All right, we have not reviewed any of the general requirements prior to now. We didn't get this far.
Mm-hmm.
Should we, I'm just looking at time, Dawn.
Mm-hmm. It's 5:10.
I don't want to burden us tonight.
So there's 13, so that's the last requirements 1 through 13. It's up to you. I mean, there's a council meeting at 6, so we'd have to be out here by then. If you're ready to go.
I think you need a break to get ready for the planning board. I want to get home and zoom in on the planning
The
board
planning
tonight.
board isn't until Wednesday. Tonight's town. Oh, wait, maybe there isn't a council meeting tonight. We have a special planning board meeting on Wednesday.
That's right.
I have
not tonight?
for that.
It's not,
No, it's Wednesday.
and you're having the recreation meeting on Wednesday night as well.
What? Yeah, the
Timing is different. That's at early, 5:30?
recreation, yes, that's in here. And we're going to be in the small room at 7.
At 7?
Yeah.
That's where you found space?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry I didn't see you the other night to let you in. It was the last, one of the meetings you came to the planning board and I didn't see you right away.
You let me in.
I did?
I was in.
Someone I didn't let in. I don't know how long they were in the waiting room. I felt bad. It could have been 30 seconds or 5 minutes and I didn't know. So it was, someone got stuck in the waiting room for a little
What
while.
I'm thankful for is that the agendas are now appropriate, the agendas are now correct, so I can get in.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah. There's
And
an old link.
I had taken that that went to Anthony, and before you were even made aware, Mr. Stephen proceeds to tell everybody anything. So Mr. McDermott took that directly to Anthony. You got a problem with your agenda. Patricia Savory couldn't get into the last planning.
Well, better to know than not know it can't be fixed. Whoever, you know.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did talk about making sure that, don't let me forget. We talk about flags going into the general requirements. What was it that we talked about going into the general?
You know, I wonder,
Yes.
general requirements, is that also checklist stuff?
Flag.
I've got it in both. I think we said that we would put a comment about flags, not if people put up flags as they're part of they should not, any kind of sign should not cover a business name or a street sign of any sort, so I think I needed to add something about flags and signs and banners,
Yeah.
not covering any
There
existing,
twice.
yeah.
Banners and flags get out of hand.
Crossing it out and making that a general requirement about where flags and signs and banners are put or not, right?
So when someone puts together a little site plan, right, it's a sketch, we can print them something off the tax map stuff if we need to, but to put a little, like a little key, like put an X or some color dot or something as to where the banners and signs are gonna be, and then a little key as to what. So we know and make sure they're down afterwards too. Because as events going over the summer,
So we as a committee haven't been really good about that. But right now, I don't have a problem with our little American flag staying up for a while because it is our 250th year.
we don't have a policy, right?
We should have gone and removed our hearts. Some hearts stayed up longer than they needed.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I was part of that.
we did have the goodness of someone taking some of but, so let's not cover the general requirements right now. Let me go over those. I haven't even really, because we hadn't gone over them. I'll go over them and we'll work on this with Bethany and Jamie, and hopefully Beth and Kat will join us.
No, you were Beth. Okay, so that was Kat. I was trying to recruit Kat. Well, as I see her at the meetings, we're still in the meeting, I'm sorry. So I don't think.
Are we moving in the right direction?
Yeah, no, I'm recruiting.
Dawn, are we moving in the right direction on this?
I think so. I think so. I would put it first on your next agenda.
Absolutely.
And then, because as soon as you're like, okay, this looks good, I think you should circulate it to the other departments that are gonna, like police, fire, public works, get their input, and then take that to the council.
Okay.
Because
enough.
they may have specific things that they would like to add in there as far as like, because we say, make some general statements about safety, right? And maybe the police are gonna say, you're gonna need 2 policemen for blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's that specific, but that's helpful to the person applying, if the guidelines are clear. Sometimes they can't be because it's really specific to the event, but if there can be some general guidance that people know what to expect when they apply, that's helpful.
So my mindset, I have completely walked away, right, having any control over if a mural goes up on the old Fairpoint building. It is not something to control. However, and I don't want to even address that in this and say, well, we don't have any control over it. We do want to be involved and participate in the initial review. And we have been, right? We were embraced. And it was very organic. We just said, we're interested. You did. We're interested. Can we participate? But it's not ours to say, it would be ours to only suggest that that's inappropriate. That would be the best I would come up with, right? That's not representative or idealistic for what we think Winthrop is, right?
It would be nice if the committee, and we have no, this is not for us to say, but if they went to the council to ask for their, not their support, but kind of to give their stamp of approval. But then again, what if they don't? If they're
Right.
just looking for that community support. It's not happening this year now, right? Is that the
No,
case?
it's off the table, both from a finance and a labor standpoint.
And I don't know how they did it previously where they had that committee, because that was through the town somehow, but private property. So I didn't see anything really in the documents that I found that kind of explained how that relationship was formed and worked.
It was so many years ago. They originally did that.
Yeah.
And we're 7.
It would be a coordinated effort, you know, with the private property, which it is a coordinated effort with the private property, but there's no oversight by the town
Right.
because it's art, not.
Yeah,
Maggie,
and
good
it's,
job.
right now, it's
She
the
was there.
History Center, but there's no funding from the History Center right now, so there's no funding for it.
Well, it isn't just the history.
Yeah, it's
It's the art.
the school art department as well as the kids, and all very well intended, and it's great, but this one's going to cost, and there is no money right now for it. There's no funding. And the History Center was prepared, but they've got their own priorities, was prepared to try to do some money gathering events, bake sales and such, to try to earn money for it. But they're already doing that for their own purposes. They need to put in whole new infrastructure in the center. So it's,
I noticed that they had something around murals at the library recently. Did they finish the mural that they were doing there?
they're hosting this month. They're hosting this month. He's coming to do a presentation, and they are doing a mural there. One of the reasons that they're not available immediately to jump on a mural on the exterior. And to be honest with you, I don't know that they were 100% eager to do it again.
Yeah.
I don't, I got the sense that it was more than they wanted to take on.
Was it something they were paid for versus
Paying materials and buying the materials was all we were talking about.
Yep.
And
Ian.
yeah,
And Chris Cart was going to help him, who's in Hollowell. Right. He's down there.
yeah. So when there's the council meeting that I'll confirm with you, it's the 3rd or the 6th. I believe it's a week from today is the council meeting. In my mind at first, I was thinking it was tonight, but it's not. And then you said something about meeting in September, but you would actually still have a meeting in August because it's the 4th Monday. So if the council appoints this consultant this Monday, then at your regular meeting in August,
we could meet with her.
Yeah.
Again, Anthony will be kind of filling in for you until we found a you. We'll never find a you.
Here
but-
today, I might have misunderstood that.
Huh?
I said, I thought he was going to be here today. I might have misunderstood that.
I don't know that it was necessary for him to be here
Yeah,
to
to
do
go
this
through this.
walkthrough.
He did say
He
that moving
offered.
forward.
He offered.
I think that's correct. He will plan to be here until it's,
Steve and I were supposed to meet with him at 3:30, and I went, we don't need to do that. We've all expressed our concerns about something and different. He didn't need to come this afternoon. It wasn't necessary.
Okay, good.
He knew it was on the agenda, and as it turns out, the people that he would have been really talking to, other than some newcomers, weren't even here.
but you did move through this, you make some final changes, look at those last 13 things, and then maybe be at a point to invite
I'm hoping that we can have, without you, I'm hoping that at least Penny and Jamie and Bethany and I, and if we have new members that apply and are approved, can get together sometime in middle of August, if there's time. And I did ask Jamie to let me know if there was time that they could gather, that we could keep this moving on our own drafting process, because we're still not close. We're
Yeah.
closer, but not 100% close. We got a lot of to do here yet. So I was hoping we could have another, just us keep working on the document. And that isn't to eliminate Brandon or Danya or anybody, but they haven't partaken. So just keep the document moving.
You know, if it's a subcommittee of just two, you don't have to have. a
Have everybody.
Meeting, yeah, just.
Yes.
But, you know, if you want to have a full group,
Ultimately, when it's final, our final draft form, we get it in front of all the department chairs, we get it in front of the full committee, and we come back again, because we won't be done. You know, I'm sure somebody's going to edit something, right? It's going to happen. So, and it's not abundantly clear yet, because I'm working with a given document. It isn't stellarly clear at all, on all fronts. The same phraseology
yeah.
and a lot of it had to do with, as I was working through the document, my mind was changing, right? It was just,
I know, and it would have been nice if there was a document that like from another community that just really fit this community.
yeah.
And I don't,
But we are trying to make it fit Winthrop,
Yeah.
and maybe there, at the end of the day, we say, we really don't need to worry about signs and banners. I don't know that we don't. The times I see signs go up is when Winthrop was putting up pictures of all our graduates on school property. It wasn't ours to control. The other thing is, if you ever wanted to put a sign over Main Street, that's an issue. And
You gotta
great,
go to the state.
you got to go to the state for that on top of all those other, yeah. So yeah, absolutely. But if somebody wanted to do that, for the art festival, let's do it on the sign over Main Street, Art Festival, August. And wouldn't that be great if we could? Right?
It would be, but it's probably gonna be a hassle.
it adds to the Hallmark
Right.
movie town.
This is true.
The sign over Main Street.
Homework. This is
For
crazy.
me, I think I've had nightmare situations with signs in towns. And so it may, like you don't want to make something a problem where it's not. But I would just hate to say nothing and then it would become a problem. There's a fine line between clever and stupid. So
Dawn, I think you can leave knowing that Winthrop is moving forward on a policy or an ordinance. You can call it what you want. It puts this little committee in some level of mini control and a process is going in place that oversights things that happen in the public ways and spaces and town-owned property.
it does, and I do feel like, and I know you all too, I'm preaching to the choir, when this is in place, because we've just kind of been feeling out for so long of like, who does what, and what are these people going to, and so finally you just had to say, okay,
And
we're
then
going to do it. And you are.
also be thankful that $25,000 have been found for us to revise a 26-year-old plan. So those things have all happened under your, we're extremely thankful.
Well, I know you guys will keep going. I just wanted to be here for it. It's just exciting stuff.
Well, there's a part of us there's a part of us that would love to see all these younger people take over so we could back away.
Yeah.
We're old
Talking
people.
about you.
I mean, Penny and I are busy people with multiple committee, and I'm not even supposed to be on two committees, really,
It's so true what they say about if you want to get something done, you ask the busiest person because they know how to get stuff done. It's unfortunate because they are so busy, but they also, they,
So this morning I had I had a dental appointment and my dental hygienist ended up by accident with her husband coaching T-ball. There were too many kids. They needed multiple coaches. You probably know this. This couple ended up knowing nothing about it and are now experts at coaching T-ball. And she is coming on Wednesday night because she has a little one coming wants to play soccer, wants to do T-ball. There's huge investment from the parenting our kids through Winthrop in our sports programs. Unfortunately, they get so involved and they love doing it. She said it was the best experience. We'll do it again because it was so great, right? And Lonnie's just crazy, right? And we're gonna miss the heck out of him, but he's been so overwhelmed. She said his casual response, I said, very casual about how he approaches the thing. He said, you'll do great, you're hired, it's kind of one of those things. We're gonna miss him a lot, but,
He's not going anywhere. I mean, he'll still be.
that's where a lot of our young adults invest their time, and I am not criticizing that. That's just another explanation of
Yeah.
why it's challenging for us to get representation and participation on multiple committees in town. That's kind of why a recreation committee has kind of gone, because they're actually out there coaching. They don't want to sit on a committee, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, we're gonna miss you, girl.
I'm gonna miss you guys a lot.
Stay in touch.
I will be, because there was talk about a glass of wine at some point this week, so.
And
Oh.
a what?
Glass of wine.
Well, we can do that. You need to email the night you're available. And there are very few. Tonight's out of the question, kind of. And I can't tomorrow night. That was probably one of your available nights. You're busy on Wednesday night. Is Thursday night doable? Is Thursday night doable?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that not universal? Universal, yeah. Nailed it.
Just know that Penny doesn't drink wine, but she does like White Russians and rum and Coke. Yeah,
Oh, yes, that probably be a good
Probably.
idea.
yeah, yes. Has to go.
Now.
To the storage.